Hi all, have you ever wondered what you need to beat Elden Ring with just a bow? I've done it, so here's how you can too. Rules for this run are simple. Any type of bow is allowed, and I need to acquire all great runes in order to complete the game. Opening this door once again, we find ourselves back in the realms between. I picked the bandit class since it starts with a bow. Next, I am bequeathed with Torrent, our trusty steed, then quickly grabbing the flail for some easy runes. Now some quick prep. How did I think that jump would work? It's time to return to a place where I belonged. I said return. Dude, stop it, I just want to be warped somewhere else. Finally, passing the not so sleepy dude and collecting the blessed dew tally for some passive healing. Time to free the jar? Alex. But my puny arms are way too weak, so it takes a while. Sparing him for now so that I can get the better tally later. Next up is the Wondrous Physic, the right medallion, and Radagon's Source Seal. Taking the 3-minute detour to grab nearly 100k runes, that gets pumped into Vigor and Dex. Grabbing the other half of the medallion and the Academy key. Up the lift to access Atlas, to climb this ladder, and this ladder. All this to find the main bow for most of the run, the pulley bow. And up one last ladder, which I definitely didn't die ever, trying to get this important tally, the arrow string tally, that raises attack power of arrows and bolts. A whopping 2 extra damage, let's go! It's time for the first boss, the ever-loving Margit and his big stick. For some reason I didn't lock on and kept trying to free aim shoot. And as always, dealing with him from a distance is pretty easy, I barely got hit. Which was a pretty easy first try victory. So far the damage is way better than I originally thought. Okay, let's head down into Siofra River to grab the horn bow to give ourselves some extra magic damage. However, unlike staffs, I don't think dual wielding the bows buff each other. Now we head to the abandoned cave to grab the serpent bow and die to the teleporting virgin. Fighting the Godskin noble, the range is fantastic, but with the low damage and the fact that I still haven't learned the moveset, I die. So what about trying to kill the virgin abductors instead? Once again, I'm struggling with one foe, let alone 2, that keep trying to trap you inside of them. It is infinitely better the second time around, but one bad roll though. So let's head to an easier boss instead, dealing well over 300 damage per hit and more when using Mighty Shot's Ash of War. Removing 1/4 of his health within 10 seconds. The whole fight was him getting stuck in the environment thanks to the insane range and his AI not knowing what to do. Big rednecks, and all I can say is that bows are OP. Heading into Rennala with a combination of blood arrows and standard arrows. Taking care of the students with the standard arrows and using blood arrows to try and proc some bleed whenever she's down. Sadly for cycling her first phase, where once again the insane range negates most of her spells. She does spam summon her summons though. It doesn't really stop me, and another easy first try victory. Added some more levels into Dex and off to Radon. Prepping some rot arrows for that slow burn, and it's kind of fitting for him. Almost killing him on the first attempt, but I just played badly, so second attempt, rotting him super early, making sure to keep some distance and switching to normal arrows. Using Mighty Shot deals massive damage, and by the time the first gravity attack happens, he's already almost at half health. Luckily after his meteor attack he's still rotten. It doesn't last for long before it needs to be reapplied though, but it's fine. A second meteor and he's down. More decks. Now it's time for one of the hardest and longest fights. Myself. Since human type enemies love reacting to projectiles which arrows fall under, the dude just keeps dodging the arrows. Ghost Loretta time, and since she can't be statused, it's actually going to be a bit challenging. And for some odd reason, I did this whole fight with an unupgraded serpent bow. Joining hands with Rani to get myself the inverted statue, and fighting an avatar to get some more physic juice. Heading to the claw person to exchange Radon's remembrance, into his grey bow, and grabbing the curse mark of death to get to Ainsel River Main. All of this for a single Somber 7. Now back to the abandoned cave to get the golden scarab, and just like before, duo fights are difficult. Each hit does take a massive amount of their health though, and I have to just make sure I keep playing it carefully. So since dealing with one duo boss, let's try another. Their high mobility and charging attacks are very painful, especially when I'm too distracted with one and not focusing on the other. But once I start pacing out my attacks and choosing the right time to attack, it suddenly becomes way easier, especially when you just run to the other side of the arena. But thanks to this, Mount Gelmir is now available, which allows progression into Alexander's questline, which means the magma worm needs to die. It's a relatively easy fight as long as I don't stand in the lava and mind my distance. Honestly speaking, standing in the lava killed me way more than the actual boss, which is kind of its shtick to be fair. 5th time's the charm. And we get the best helmet in the game, the jar. Next up is picking up the axe Tali. Maybe this could increase damage. It does not. Finally using the grey bow to take down DTS. It does basically the same amount of damage that the pulley bow does, but I lose the mobility, so let's kind of switch back. Using my range to my benefit, and I just stay attacking him from outside his aggro range, making him either walk back to his start point, or just despawn and respawn back in his original place, which gives me a giant damage window each and every time. And with one last mighty shot and a fireball to the face, DTS goes down. Godfrey is just like Loretta, a ghost, so status build is not really a thing. This time using the correct bow and getting axed way too many questions, but coming back better than ever with trying to use Radon's Rain Ash of War. That missed most of the shots. So let's just switch back to the pulley bow once again for the range and quick shots to outdistance this gold bar. Mighty Shot does do a whopping 465 damage every time. Taking him down. Big Stick Boy got an upgrade and is trying to come after me. Being the very hyper aggressive boy he is, I just need to keep my distance and whittle down his health. Until phase 2, where that distance doesn't really help. Phase 2 seems to be a massive wall that I have to face, so instead I find this creepy dude, die to this rolling dude, and again until I vanquish him, allowing me to progress Vara's questline, drenching this clot in Maiden's blood and losing a finger. All of this gains me access to Mohg's palace, where I grab the ancient somber stone to level up the pulley bow to +10. Then using Golden Vow to take down the 3 sentinel, to get a weapon for the Golden Vow, Ash of War, but I kinda already have it. Heading to the catacombs to get electrocuted and pull this lever, dropping down into this secret area to get the ancient dragon apostle cookbook for electric arrows. Heading back to Margit and buffing with Golden Vow, using the electric arrows and making sure to stay out of his range, I mighty shot him while he's transitioning into phase 2, slowly whittling down his health until finally he's down. Rolling into this jar for the first half of the secret medallion, then grabbing the full moon crossbow from the academy, then presenting the medallion to go up yet another lift. Upon returning to the round table, I get attacked by Ensha. Taking him out, I get to wear his armor to try the healing effect it should have. However, the times I'm actually below 18%, I normally just get killed. Pumpkinhead time and some well-timed shots deal massive damage. Carrying on to Fire Giant and using the pulley crossbow to fire a volley of buried shots for blood loss buildup, I managed to break the ankle guard relatively fast. Then taking a step back to switch the depleted bolts, taking a face full of pan, then boom. The next several attempts all lead to painful deaths, so upgrade montage. Yeah, okay, how about now? Okay, maybe I just need some better armor? Sorry, bud. How did he survive that? Okay, we're basically there. Managing to avoid the annoying ground destroying thing, that means a good run's about to happen. So let's break the ankle guard. Keep attacking until I get the rot build and he starts taking dot damage. Switching to the defensive and staying away, while attacking between his larger attacks. And running to the ankle to hit with blood bolts to get some bleed proc. Thanks to the rot, I get to move on to phase 2. Switching back to rot arrows to gain some massive damage. It's then a game of tag, running away from his firebolts, then his other firebolts, and flame breath. Getting some insane blood procs, plus the rot, and I could have put my controller down and seen victory drawing closer. Finally, after so many attempts, the fire giant has gone up in smoke. Speaking of smoke, it's time to turn on the barbecue. And wakey up to the sky. Heading straight to the duo fight. The first attempt went way better than I thought it would, getting all the way down to half health. Starting the second attempt, I started prepping Tall Boy with sleep arrows, finally getting him down. All that's left is Big Boy, sleeping him as well, switching to the pulley crossbow and volleying him with rot arrows, getting it pretty quick, then switching to the bleed bolts, causing a bleed proc, which sent him into phase 2. Getting more and more bleed procs, Big Boy goes down, and Tall Boy wakes back up. He then quickly summons his friend back, but not before I manage to rot him, and bleed him, allowing me to run from both of them while I wait for him to go down. It's just me and Big Boy once again. I put him to sleep, and 3 volleys later, he's rotted. Sadly, he refuses to go back to sleep for some reason, and I get down to the brink of death. Luckily, I have equipped the Blessed You Tali, healing me just enough not to die. Running away, I let the rot take effect, and since the sleep arrows are doing nothing, I switch to regular arrows to take him down. Let's just hope that Tall Boy doesn't spawn him back in. Oh, he summoned him right back as he goes to sleep. Lovely. This is fine, all I need to do is rot him while he's asleep and avoid Big Boy. I should be in the clear. Run! Let's go! It's finally time to go up this lift. Grab the Lord's Rune and Golden Seed, and fight Alex. It's our most intensive fight yet. Maybe I shouldn't have been jumping so much. Alright, let's go back and grab the Shard of Alexander. Finally, it's time for death. Arching backwards and drawing the string, I fire 2 shots before he comes running straight at me. He's being way too aggressive. Using the pulley crossbow, a volley of poison bolts gets shot and easily proc poison. So now it's a game of dodge, attack, and wait for phase 2 to happen. Probably should have dodged that. After a few attempts, the run happened. Landing several poison arrows till finally it procs poison, then healing, and trading several hits. Margit is down for the count, and we make it to the Ashen Capital. This fight is one that I'm worried about, because of our damage output. And yeah, Mighty Shot is amazing, so much damage, but I'm then stuck in one place, which, yeah. The only thing that really goes in our favor is the fact that we have range. Running near him, I use a volley of poison right to his face. Then it's a matter of getting bleed procs and running away, letting poison take its damage. Switching to Rot mid-fight, taking several faceful of spells, I just wait and let dot damage take effect. This was a bad fight. I'm really worried for Malenia now. Godfrey time. Now this fight gets remarkably easier the further I stay away from him. So as usual, I need to land some poison damage and just wait for her loot to come out, making sure to use both Rot and Poison. Unfortunately, playing terribly, I run out of heals and end up dying with having no health left. Not spawning next to the boss is always much nicer, especially to inflict some extra range damage, easily managing to beat him on the very next attempt after getting used to his attacks, plus just playing generally better. Returning to the temple to end Eleonora's life to get the purifying crystal tier, cause next we got to deal with the amazing Mohg. Somehow was one of the easier fights thus far, using the range once again, opening up with bleed, then switching weapons and volleying poison bolts into him. Some more bleed, and basically this is how the whole fight was. Dodging attacks, dodging blood attacks, volley and bleed procs, and reapplying poison when it runs out. Heading into Castle Sol to attempt Commodore Niall. I've pretty much learned his moveset by now, so all I need to do is dodge and pelt him with poison bolts. And a few jump shots later, and he pretty much goes down, rewarding with the second half of the secret medallion. Next, unfortunately, we got to go into this annoying Evergoal, lighting this thing, somehow making the parkour section, and lighting this one. And finally this one. Electric! Jump and fail. Okay, real Loretta time. Starting off, I volley poison bolts into her. That takes hold, I switch to bleed arrows, getting a perfectly timed bleed, and the dot damage takes her down. Grabbing the best damage negation tally in the game, the Dragon Crest's Great Shield, and heading into the first attempt of Malenia. I try using frost arrows since she's weak to frost. It doesn't really matter though, because her damage is way too high for my current skill level. I then just keep throwing my body at the fight. Maybe I get lucky, and the best I ever did was close to half health. So next I pick up the Golden Order seal, so I can use the Blessing of the Earth Tree, and time for some respecking. Yeah, that was not worth it. Joining Volcano Manor, we use sleep arrows on Big Boy and a bunch of bleed. This fight really shows that damage wise, I'm pretty much there. It's just learning movesets. Sadly, I die, but I come back and use the volley this time to cause some massive amounts of damage while he's still sleeping, and that second sleep seals his fate. Rykard's turn to face my aim, and for the first attempt it was going amazing. However, I got hit too many times and died on the final stretch. Serpent Boy comes striking me, allowing me the perfect opportunity to poison it. Then Rot. Switching to a bow that I haven't used yet, the Black Bow. I keep ice arrowing the snake, lowering its health until the poison and rot wore off. So let's reapply and frost time. Doing the same here. Poison and rot, then using the Barrage Ash of War to its full extent. And obviously running when he does his AoE attacks. Getting swallowed won't stop your execution, dude. He goes in for another AoE attack, and it's looking kinda bad. Surviving, then getting swallowed once again, and as a lot of this run has been going lately, dot damage to the rescue. Grabbing the blue Dancer Tali, maybe this helps. From what I can tell, it did increase my damage from 228 to a whopping 266, unless I'm going crazy. With learning her moveset and my timings over the last 2 months, I started getting closer and closer. It didn't really stop me from dying in really stupid ways though. Over time, after several attempts, I ended up just switching between her and Radabeast to try not go insane. The main problem is that this build is more of a status build, and if anyone knows this fight, it's kinda difficult. Sorry, let me fix that. Radagon is mostly status allowing, being able to be frostbit, poisoned, and rotted. Elden Beast is the main problem, but that's for later. The biggest problem now is that it seems to be a bigger brick wall than Malenia, so let's deal with her first. Finally, after a stupid amount of deaths and tries, I finally got this attempt. Trying to add some extra damage, since she spends a lot of time in water, I stayed using lightning arrows and switching to frost arrows until I proc frost. It definitely was not the cleanest fight, but switching between the different damage types and using the barrage skill whenever I see her in specific animations or at the end of an attack to land some extra hits. It was also useful to send her into specific position or just to get her to attack. Getting into phase 2, I run past her and barrage her. Phase 2 becomes so much easier, just simply becoming a dodge and attack. I also got very lucky with some good RNG, so the main fight was basically run, dodge, attack, run, and barrage. And finally, after so many attempts, she's finally down. So let's enter this fog gate one last time. Growing a beard in this process and changing my gear around using the Ash of War helmet, which lowers the FP needed for Ash of Wars. I'm wearing the Raptor's Black Feathers armor that adds 15% more damage to jump attacks. Barraging Frost into Radagon, and now a big issue Radagon has is that he loves deflecting projectiles. It's just like how Melania dodges projectiles. This time, I use Frost Arrows to proc Frostbite, then hit him with Fire Arrows to reset. Once he's down, I quickly hot swap the Fire Arrows with normal arrows and get ready for the Beast. This fight is basically just barrage as much as possible and run. No fancy tricks, just running, dodging, and not needing to get close. My range is insane, basically allowing me to hit them from the other side of the game. And with that, I can finally hang my bow up and start the next challenge. Thank you very much for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. And as always, toodles.